We would like to extend a welcome to Professor Hutch and our fellow classmates from OB221C5. We, Team Odd Behavior, want to have a roundtable discussion about what we learned from our interviews at Analysis Group. And really going into Analysis Group, we were skeptical because a consulting firm was named the best place to work for in Boston, and we didn't really know what to expect.
I agree. Walking into the building, I was very intimidated because we had to check in with security, and we had to be given our own security passes to scan.
Yeah, and even when we took the elevator up to the 10th floor, the atmosphere was still very stressful and professional. But once the managers came out to greet us, we saw a different side of AG, and we really saw why they were the best place to work for in Boston.
Now we should just discuss some of the managing practices that we got out of the interviews that they practice at Analysis Group, like motivation, leadership, feedback, values, teamwork. Right.
Mm-hmm. Going on with motivation, my manager, who was a project manager, who's been there for 18 years, told me that she wants to be there because she can go to work every day and work on what she's interested in. And having this autonomy in the workplace is so crucial, and it's so important to a lifelong career and serves as a real intrinsic motivator for employees.
So I did a little research on my manager beforehand, and I noticed that he created this budget software that better served clients. So I asked him why he developed this software, and he replied and he told me that he likes to go above and beyond because it enriches his everyday work life. The fact that Analysis Group empowers him to be entrepreneurial in his job is reason that he stayed at AG for over 7 years.
It was clear from my interview that there's really strong value congruence at Analysis Group. AG really values intelligence, knowledge, education, and personal advancement through work ethic. One example is that Paul Karner told me upper-level managers really help out the lower-level managers when they're applying for graduate school or to get their MBAs. It really shows how supportive the atmosphere is at Analysis Group.
Analysis Group really places a huge emphasis on their values, which is really reflected in their teamwork. And this really prevents things that hinder organizations like social loafing and problems in decision making. And I think this really promotes a sense of social identity within Analysis Group and emotional cohesiveness.
When screening the undergrads, my manager mentioned how she was interested to see if these candidates could work together in a team. She didn't want somebody who could just crunch numbers. She wanted someone who was versatile, open to criticism, socially compatible with large groups of people.
The project manager also told me that in team meetings, it's the person with the most experience who makes the final decision. However, that isn't without taking into account and consideration all the input and the work that the rest of the team put in, including the analysts and the associates, as well as all the managers. And that's what's so great about Analysis Group.
My manager is an advisor for a group of 20 analysts, so I asked him how he motivates them to become leaders. He said that it's all about the environment he creates for them to grow. I immediately thought of McGregor's theory why, where it's assumed that workers like to work and under the proper conditions, employees want more responsibilities and eventually can reach self-actualization. And that all stems from Maslow's needs hierarchy.
Communication is definitely key to the success of employees at Analysis Group. They really believe in complete transparency between the different teams, employees, and the different levels of management. And even though there's a strict chain of command, there's no formal way to communicate within the organization. And for example, like my manager, the recruiting manager told me that an analyst can literally walk straight into the CEO, Martha's office without a prior appointment and address any concern they may have.
Something unique at AG is that they have a single P&L link, and it's great because you can see what all your coworkers are working on at whatever time. It really helps if you have some knowledge about a product, you can jump in, or say if you need help, somebody else in the office can jump in. Just since the company is so deadline driven, this is a huge asset.
The mentorship program AG has in place for the analysts just serves as another channel of communication that just aids in this communication transparency within AG.
You know, a nice way to sum this all up really is through looking at the management principles. A huge part of that is the feedback. The feedback sessions are not only done through the every 6 month formal feedback sessions, but they're also done through teams and through individuals when they just come up to each other and really have discussions. You know, this is such a big part of the culture in Analysis Group. And also it adds to the learning environment in Analysis Group. There's none of the passive aggressiveness. You don't see the ideas where one person is working harder than another person. There's truly an interdependence. And also the idea that what happens at home stays at home, and what happens at work stays at work. This really avoids relationship conflict and adds to analysis group being such a great place to work at.
I think we've had a great discussion so far about the management practices at Analysis Group, and now we should discuss some of the recommendations that we have. Even though Analysis Group is named the best place to work for in Boston, I'm pretty sure we have some things we'd like to change, some things that we'd like to keep. So let's talk about some of the recommendations.